So how do you maximize local SEO? I think this is a great question because while it is a little bit broad, it's going to give you an idea of what they're doing. They should have an answer back pretty quickly. But let's talk a little bit about what I mean by local SEO. This is some tactics that we all know: the localization of your website, right? Making sure that you have local terms and local areas put into your ad copy naturally, ideally, put into your keywords. But it's also getting your website ranked, obviously, on search engines locally. So that's a lot of SEO work here, a lot of website work, but also business directories, Google My Business, cars.com, Yelp, wherever you can find your business listing, it should be up to date and it should be localized, and make sure that it's maximized. Because again, people are searching, they want to know more about you, and they want that review, that word of mouth, to tell them, to set their mind at ease that they are picking the right vendor or the right dealership. Local market strategies essentially is what we're talking about here. So Google just released recently, near me mobile searches have grown over 500% in the last 2 years. So we knew that near me was growing because of mobile, right? But they further break this down to say that purchase intent in near me searches has grown 500%. So these are near me mobile searches that contain things like, can I buy, where to buy? Those are the ones that have grown over 500%.
Doesn't Google already know where you're located via IP?
Yes. Yep. So Google's
consumers still go near me.
They're still saying near me. Yeah. And what they're,
I have to be honest, I've never said that.
So the near me search is interesting because this, in my opinion, this is a little bit of my opinion, but in researching it, Google introduced it as hey, a lot of people are searching near me, right? And I think people were searching, but they were searching for like near Dallas, near, Great Barrington, where I live, near Stockbridge, Massachusetts. Google condensed that into near me searches. And what happened was you started seeing an increase in people just searching near me because they now trusted that Google knew where they were. So I think that was the evolution more of the near me searches. Google said the near me searches are growing, but they meant near specific area. What's happened, because we trust, we actually don't just trust, we expect our devices to know where we are, right?
Yeah.
They didn't. We're like, what the heck is wrong with this thing? So when we talk near me searches, it doesn't always mean they specifically said near me, but they're indicating it's a local search.
Okay.
So where can I buy?
It's sort of misleading though.
Yeah, Google tends to bunch in the near me searches as a new kind of category. However, that being said, I think it is a good strategy to have those in your ad copy or your AdWords, what you're targeting, so that you do capture those searches. But it's more important too to have your local keywords in there for those people that are actually putting in near, near my area.
So dealerships don't necessarily have to go back and start adding near me and all that.
No, definitely not. And again, have this conversation with your digital advertising marketing vendor, with your website provider, with your SEO specialist, with your search specialist, however that's broken out. Have the conversation and look at the results, and they're going to be able to give you some color around that. But local SEO is super important because, again, we're searching everything on the go with our phones, and the more local you are in your approach, the better targeted you are, the less money you're wasting, honestly. So why do we ask this question, and how do you maximize local SEO? Because it's super important what you look like online. Your digital dealership is super, it's a lot more relevant than it was in the past. People are looking at your digital dealership far more often than they're actually walking in the door. So you want to make sure that you look good when they're looking for someone who looks good. So this just gets back to reviews. 85% of consumers trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation. So this is your word of mouth. This is a friend told me that this is a good place to go. We're just kind of tending to find that online more than we are word of mouth in some ways. Word of mouth still happens. It's still a thing, just like regular search is still a thing. Voice search hasn't supplanted it. But it's super important that you look good online. 49% of consumers need at least a 4-star rating. This speaks back to what you were talking about with Google sifting out the 4 stars, right? They need at least a 4-star rating before they choose to use a business. So they might be glazing right over a business that has 3.9 as an average. They don't believe that one.
Facebook just got rid of star reviews, or at least star ratings. So now it's recommendations.
Right. So now it's, do you
I
recommend this
wonder if
place?
that's going to start any type of trend.
That's something to keep an eye on, especially for people who have already started uh, getting to that good star rating, right? That 4.7 or whatever on Facebook. Now that that's gone away, what does that look like? And so this is the changing digital business. This is why you need to be challenging your vendor, but also having the conversation, because the conversation between the local dealer and the, you know, national vendor is kind of the pudding in the mix. It's the secret recipe that makes things work well, because they might know nationally what's a good strategy, and they might even look at your local market, hopefully, and say, how do people respond in market? But you actually live there. It's your name on the dealership. It's people looking at you and saying, I expect you to be hyper local. So if a vendor isn't in tune with what your goals are as a dealership and what your brand is, and they're out there trying to advertise for you, it's out of sync. And it's actually doing you kind of a disservice. I think we'll probably talk about that more later as well. But your reviews certainly matter. So something I wanted to show, and then we have, you know, 30% of 30% name responding to reviews as key when judging a local business. This is very low funnel stuff. Before I walk into a business that I haven't engaged with before, I am definitely checking their reviews. I'm a little nutty about it. I might be the extreme end. I don't go anywhere without reading. And when I read the reviews, I jump right to the 2s and the 3s. Because I want to see how they responded to it. I want to see if they're real problems. The 5-star reviews, I just don't trust them usually.
What do you mean by name responding to reviews? Who actually responded back?
30%. Yeah. So this was it. 30% of it's written a little bit weird. 30% of people name responding to reviews as key. And in other words, they've said it was key in their decision process to judge a local business. Okay. So responding to reviews is when you have a 3-star review, right? That's warm milk. We don't know what to do with that. If you haven't responded to that, as a consumer, I'm looking at that as a red flag. I'm saying, wait a minute, that 3-star review is perfectly valid. But when I see that you're engaging and responding appropriately, I go, okay, this is a real person. If I see all 5 stars with no responses, what do I think? Yeah, right. That was somebody overseas. That's fake. If I see all bad reviews and no responses, I go, is this place even open? Right. So then when I see so then when I see the responses, I'm going, all right, so this is real people. This is making that connection that you need to make to get them to walk through the door, right? It's kind of like the phone calls these days where someone says, hey, where are you located? They know where you're located. They're on their phone. They're on their mobile phone. They just looked you up and they hit call. That is a hot lead as far as I'm concerned for a dealership. That is, I'll tell you where we're located. I'll tell you the best way to get here and what can I do to prep for, are you coming today? That's not a, oh yeah, we're off exit 29, bye. That's them actually reaching out finally and making that contact that they've probably been procrastinating on for a long time. So we talked about Google My Business. If you don't own, like, if you don't own your Google My Business today and you're not working with it, you should. Business listings are very important. Google My Business has gone crazy over the past year, really, right? Like they've been prepping for this for a while, but they have a whole team behind this. Look at all the things that you can see on your Google My Business if it's optimized correctly. You can put offers up there. You can have pictures inside your dealership. This is connecting with the online consumer and making it easy for them to walk in your door. If you noticed through that video, we'll see it again later, there's reviews there, 4.7 stars. What's going on? We're having our summer clearance event, or maybe there's a service offer. This is free. This is something that if you're not taking advantage of it, you're missing the boat.
I would take advantage of that back when it was before it was Google Business. It was called something else. And I would go in there and upload all
the knowledge panel.
And then 3 months later, 4 months later, they got rid of it, and then they brought it back, then they got rid of it. Google's been so inconsistent with their business
product. Yeah, you're right.
So hopefully, hopefully they're sticking with it this time.
I will say you're 100% correct. Tomorrow they might roll something new out. They have product teams around all of these things. So sometimes product teams are left to their own devices a little bit, and then sometimes they're onto something and it becomes a little bit more of a buzz. From what I've seen, the stuff they're rolling out with Google My Business and the way they're approaching it this time, it's important because it's data for them. They actually have, and we'll share it with everybody. With it, I don't know. You guys can figure out how to get it to everyone, but they have an auto dealership specific guide on how to claim your Google My Business, because they were noticing that a lot of automotive dealerships, somebody had access and now they're gone, and now how do I reclaim that? So they even made an automotive specific guide. That leads me to believe that they're putting some investment behind it. And in the end, it doesn't hurt you to set this stuff up. But if you can ask your vendor, hey, what do you know about this? Help me along this process. They should be able to help you, even if they're not, trying to charge you for it. We definitely get dealers who call us all the time and say, hey, what's going on with Google My Business? One of the cool things that I've noticed too that lends me to believe that it's here to stay is they've started pairing Google Ads with Google My Business, not to chase a rabbit too far, to get more data, and data like store visits, and to get data from the Google ecosystem. So I come through, I search, I end up on your site from an ad. Later on, I search again and I call through the Google My Business, the map pack, right? Or through something like that. Or I visit your website again. When you pair Google My Business with your Google Ads account, you're able to see that level of engagement, which is pretty interesting.